Hello, welcome to the Opinionistics. I'm your host, John Malone. In this episode, no co-host, cause reasons, I guess. Introducing from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, Dr. Alan Lecker.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on your show.
You're welcome. So, Dr. Alan, what is it that you do for a living?
At this point in time, I do two things. One is I'm a professional speaker, and secondly, I'm a syndicated radio show host and producer.
Wow, that's pretty good.
I'm never
And
bored, let's put it that way.
fair enough. I'm like that too sometimes. What was life for you growing up?
I lived a very simple life. I lived in an area outside of Calgary, Alberta, in a little community known as Montgomery. It became part of Calgary as Calgary grew. We lived in a simple house. The streets were dirt. There was one light on every corner. But although my family was poor, I didn't know it. I was rich in that I could play all the time. I had enough food to eat. I had enough things to do. So I lived as a child a very great life. And, I went up through school simply. I went through Catholic school. I in part of my childhood, I was stricken with asthma, so I couldn't participate in a lot of sports. In winters, I was in the hospitals a lot. But I think that shaped me in certain ways. I became quite academic and I excelled in school. I was always the top of the class.
Wow, impressive. That was quite a story. Where do you see yourself 20 years from now?
Geez, if I'm lucky enough, hopefully not in the grave. I'm 68 now, so that will leave me at 88. And according to statistics, the average male doesn't live that long. So I'd
Uh,
say, not sure, but I hope I'm doing the things I am doing now. I hope I'm able to keep on my fire and fervor, and I'm hoping I keep on doing the wonderful things I do.
that's that's exactly what's important. You enjoy life and you lived a great life. And then at the end of the day, you achieved what you wanted to achieve. So, as a keynote speaker, what have been the high points and the low points?
It's every time I speak on stage, it is always a unique opportunity. I love speaking on stage because you're able to interact with hundreds of people all at once. And you have them in the palm of your hand. They're listening to every word you say, they listen to everything you do. I've come on a speaking tour recently, starting in Sioux Falls, going to Albuquerque, going to Austin, going to Los Angeles, Chicago, Halifax in Canada, Portland in Maine. And in every place, I got standing ovations for what I did. And that is always the high point for a speaker when you get standing ovations and people are so enthralled at what you have to say. Low points on speaking is traveling. I'm not thrilled of having to get on these airplanes, traveling the miles you need to do, going through the security checks, going through all these other things, going through customs, because I live in Canada, so I often have to travel to the United States. Those are not the fun parts of traveling. But getting there, you meet such amazing people. And it's always such a great thing to meet those people and commiserate with them.
Yes, absolutely. What could you give a 40-minute presentation on without any preparation?
I can speak on overcoming adversity. I can speak on happiness because that's the main shtick. I can speak on employee engagement, which is a major problem in business today. I could speak on uh, overcoming quiet quitting and the great resignation. I can speak on helping businesses improve. I can speak on believe and inspire leadership because leaders have problems in this day and age. So I have a whole armamentarium of things I could speak on. Another group of speeches I've done to youth are success is the other side of fear. So on any of those topics, I could speak eloquently for 14 minutes, a half an hour, 45 minutes, and I could have everybody standing up in their seats, sitting at the edge of them, ready and raring to go with every word I have to say.
Nice. Very good. What was the largest thing you've ever seen?
The largest thing I've ever seen. Well, I live in the Rocky Mountains, and the Rocky Mountains outside of Banff are some of the most awe-inspiring things you can see in the world. They're jaw-dropping. So every time I drive into that area, I am so blessed. I thank God for being in such a wonderful country with such beauty all around it.
Wow, that's something, that's for sure. Have you ever met anyone famous?
Ooh, I have met several people famous. Geez, Tony Robbins, a professional speaker. Brendan Burchard, a professional speaker. Paula Abdul, one of the famous actresses. Dr. Oz, one of the famous people that's been on stage. Oprah Winfrey, uh, Jack Canfield, writer of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Mark Victor Hansen, co author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Uh, Many people, the minister of health in Egypt. Now, he might not be famous here, but he's certainly famous there. Uh, there are quite a few people I've had the pleasure of meeting. Uh, Jarek Robbins, the head honcho in Success magazine. Uh, the list goes on and on and on. Being the person that is the host of a very successful radio show, a lot of people are easy to access. Uh, people are only one or two people away from you.
Yeah, that is very true. Would you sleep on the wall or sleep on the ceiling?
I'd sooner sleep in my bed, thank you. I don't think I'd want to sleep on either of those.
Okay, cool, cool. What is the best way to travel?
You know, I think it's always more fun to travel in an automobile or a bus or a train than it is in an airplane. Unfortunately, to get to where you're going, you're quite forced to go on those airplanes. But I love going by slower means of transportation and savoring the journey, not just trying to get to the destination.
Honestly, yes, that is so true. It's not the destination, it's the journey that counts.
It is. And I think people need to spend the time and smell the roses. I think we're all so busy getting to where we're going that we really don't understand how important it is to take that journey.
Absolutely. If you were given 500 acres of land, what would you use that land for?
I suppose it would be where it is. I think there's a lot of good uses for land. I'm not a farmer, but I might rent it out to farmers to let them grow crops that are quite appropriate.
Yeah, I can see that. Where was the furthest you traveled to from where you were originally from?
Geez, there's been a number of journeys that I've been on. I live in Edmonton, so I've traveled to South Africa, which is quite a different distance away. I've traveled to the South Pacific, to Vietnam and Thailand. I've traveled to Australia. No, I don't have a measuring rod, so not trying to figure out which one of those is the farthest, but they're all pretty far.
Yeah, cool. If you were hosting a dinner party and you could invite 5 guests who are either dead or alive, who would you invite?
Oh, yes, that's always a good question. I would love to have Warren Buffett at the table, who is one of the smartest investment minds in the world. He is, I'd love to listen to him and see what he did. I would love to have Gerald Ford, because I think he has a brilliant mind and would be able to do there. I would love to have my dear wife with me because she always brings out the best of me at the time. Um, who else would I invite? Well, I would love to have a humorist. I'm not sure which humorist I'd invite, but somebody that could bring some life to the party because I don't think we laugh enough. And the fifth guest, I would have to think about for a while. So short term, I just can't name them all.
Fair enough, fair enough. What advice could you give to someone for whatever subject that is your strongest point?
Well, that's easy. I've had a life that has had to overcome adversity, so I'd always tell them the words, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens. Those are the words of Epictetus, a Greek sophist who lived, 1,000 or 2,000 years before Christ. So he has got some brilliant advice. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens.
Yes, indeed. Have you ever been chosen to do a task? No, wait. Hold on. I got another one actually. What is your favorite pastime?
you know, I'm often seen as an extrovert where I'm in front of audiences and speaking to people, but I'm actually an introvert. So I love to read. So I would spend the time cuddled up with a book and reading it and savoring it.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. What app can you not believe someone hasn't made yet?
Oh, it's so hard because they keep inventing apps all the time, and I'm always amazed at what has been invented and how they simplify our lives. You know, I, 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 I don't think I could go that far because I'm not sure of all the apps that are out there. I scan them and I say, oh my God, you can do that with an app? Quite amazing what apps have been able to do.
Yeah, that's so true. There's pretty much apps for anything. What was life like without technology in general?
I think it was much better. I think it was simpler. I think the days before social media were much better days. We don't need to know all the crap that's being put on social media every day. I think children are being robbed of their youth by being on cell phones all the time. They should have strictly limited time on these devices. And I think they should be more encouraged to play. And I think they should be more encouraged to do things without those things. Uh, when I see my grandchildren just mesmerized by a TV show and their brains go to rot, I think that's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, there has to be another way. Which movie would you like to watch again for the first time?
There's so many of them, and some of them are so good that you just savor them. I don't know if I could just name one movie, but uh, I particularly like one movie called All That Jazz. It's a story of about a, a, a dance choreographer by the name of Bob Fosse. And I really like that one because it really gets you into a different world.
Oh, yes, that's the movie. If your mind was an island, what would it look like?
Oh, it would be one of those lush islands in the South Pacific with coconut trees, hammocks, and people to help you. It would be one of those paradises. You'd wake up in the morning and eat a fresh pineapple every day. It would be lush and green. It would be sunny, and you could do nothing but rest.
Yeah, that is something. If you had a song for every time you enter the room, what song would that be?
I can't, I am trying to remember it, but it's a musical. Oh, I'm just going to say the Pomp and Circumstance March.
Hmm, nice. Would you rather speak all languages or talk to animals?
I think speak all languages, and soon we'll have an app for that. There are developing technologies where instantly your voice can be translated into all languages, and all languages could therefore be translated into English. So you literally can communicate to everybody in the world. So much for the Tower of Babel, where everybody was fractionated and couldn't speak in their common tongue. We now have the ability to break communication channels completely, and that is going to be one of the biggest breakthroughs in the world. That being able to communicate in all languages instantly without having to do it delayed like through the apps that currently exist, I think we're going to really move forward quickly.
True. Would you rather not be able to open closed doors or not be able to close open doors?
Could you repeat that?
Okay, yeah, I thought this would happen. Would you rather not be able to close open doors or not be able to open closed doors?
Double negatives. That's always the difficult. I would sooner open all doors. Knock twice, knock three times to get those doors open.
Okay, fair enough. If you can have an exotic pet, what kind of companion would you like to have?
A dog.
Okay,
That may not be too exotic, but dogs are really neat.
yes, so true. What should they teach in high school but they don't?
Oh, I think they should teach business. I think they should treat entrepreneurship. I think they should teach people how to overcome adversity. And I think they should have a course in kindness because I think that's something that's totally lacking in this day and age.
Yes, couldn't agree more. And of course, alongside financial budgeting would also be useful because the state of economies all across the globe is absolutely devastating. I think that's also important for people to know at a young age.
I agree.
Yes, if your life was a food, what kind of food would that be? Well, actually, if your life was a meal, what kind of meal would it be?
Gee, it would be a cornucopia of all foods that I like, which is many and variety of foods. Everything from junk food to high 5-star gourmet dishes. So uh, I think meals have to be varied. I think they have to include everything from fruits, vegetables, to some of those not so healthy things like French fries and hamburgers. So it's good to have all those things, all in moderation.
Yes, absolutely. And fantastic, I might add. Would you rather teleport yourself 500 years into the future or 500 years into the past?
That's a tough one. You know, let's see, 500 years in the past would make us into the 1700s. The days of exploration. Interesting. It's hard to look, even envision 500 years into the future and the miraculous things that would happen. It would almost seem that in this day and age is that we might not have 500 years into the future the way the world is shaping up. So I'd have to go with 500 years in the past.
Yeah, I'd always love to see the past and seem like the smart one for once. What's the weather like where you are right now?
Today is going to be a day where it's going to be 21 degrees centigrade, which is about 72 degrees Fahrenheit. It's sunny. It's going to be a beautiful day. Um, we've had a fair bit of rain, so everything's green and lush. Uh, we're this weekend we're heading off to our lake property, so it's going to be beautiful there, and it's the time of year you need to enjoy the summer months because up here in the northern woods they can be short. So between the May long weekend and the September long weekend, we really savor the weather up here. At this time of year, we call it God's country. In winter, we say God can keep it.
Hmm. Okay then. Yes, yes. Is it better to use shampoo as soap or soap as shampoo?
I think you need shampoo to shampoo your scalp. I don't think soap is a very good thing to shampoo yourself. Uh, you need all the ingredients in modern shampoos to do the good things that you have. Like if you have dandruff, there are ingredients for that. If there's conditioner into that. So shampoos are specially formulated to help care for the things it needs to do.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. What would you do if you found out you won the lottery?
Geez, it all depends how big the lottery would be, but many of these lotteries are atrociously big, like $70 million. So I'd take a portion of it and spend it, and then I'd invest all the rest.
Honestly, I would have done the same thing. Because what a better way to secure your financial future than put it put into some kind of stable investment?
Well, I think people don't understand the power of investments, but investments double every 7 years. So why would you not want to do that and still live comfortably?
Yeah, I asked myself the same thing. If everyone knew that, then what the world may not be bad for everyone as it seems. Even with the events going on in the world, at least we could afford whatever we can or whatever need.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. What was the last book you read?
I'm always reading books, and because I'm a syndicated radio host, I am sent books for people to read. So, which one did I read most recently? It's called Powerful, Powerfull. It was a book by Amy Engelmark.
Hmm, that's pretty good. If someone wrote a book about you, what do you think its title would be?
I'm not sure what they would write about me, but there are several books that include me in them because I've written them. So, my book that I wrote is The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life, which was co authored by a wonderful lady by the name of Harriet Tinka. So, I'm not sure what they'd write about me, but they'd probably read the things I've written and reiterate some of them.
Yeah, good point. And that is all we have for this episode. It's great having you on, Dr. Allen, talking about the worlds of business and being a keynote speaker and so much more. It's been great.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It has been indeed a pleasure.
Same. Me too. And with that being said, until next time, stay opinionated.